Hi, another day, another topic around Kubernetes. Today I wanted to talk about groups in Kubernetes. It's typically around the RBAC context. When we talk about group, it will be always associated with the RBACs. Right? Picking this particular one because it can be confusing at times. In Kubernetes, a group is not a direct resource. Right? When I say direct resource, likes of pod, services, deployment, replica set, those sort of things, right? It is not resource as such. Instead, it is a concept that is used for authentication and authorization process. So groups are basically collections of, could be users or other groups, and used to control the access to Kubernetes resource. So when you create cluster role and attach it with a cluster role binding, or you may say when you create a role and attaching with a role binding, you can specify subjects such as users, service account, or the group, and that will define the permissions for the given user who is going to, or the group who is going to assume that role. So if you specify a group in a subject, Kubernetes will check whether any user or service account belongs to that group and grant them permission accordingly. So if the group specified in cluster role binding doesn't exist, Kubernetes will create a new group because it's not any resource, right? It doesn't exist, you create a new one. And if the group already exists, Kubernetes will essentially bind the new permissions, if it is new permission that you are trying to attach, to the existing group. So need to be careful. That is a potential escalation of permissions as well. So say a user or say a group view has a permission to view some of the resources except secrets in a global cluster-wide resource. So that group will be able to view the resource, obviously, as the view permission is. So if you, as an administrator, if you bind the view group to another cluster role which has excessive permission, then you are basically escalating permission for that given group. So that's where the groups can be tricky, and you will occasionally find people misusing the group or extending the permissions. When you have the concept of groups, audit is required in order to be in control. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We will talk about more topics around RBAC in the upcoming videos. Thank you.